You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast. And this is show number 465 for the 30th of July, 2023.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle. School's out for summer.
Oh, I know. How happy am I for 3:15 on Tuesday? It was a wonderful feeling. A bit of a weird year with this cohort, but yes, very happy. I have got more Toblerones than I know what to do with, which is fantastic. I have got a few nice little things to keep in the classroom, like some candles and some Mickey Mouse cups and things like that.
Nice.
Very appreciated from all our lovely families. But it's the cards that get you, you know, the lovely messages that they write inside.
Yeah.
And, you know, even a parent coming up and saying, I wish you was taking him up to year 7 because you've done such a good job for him in year 6. Things like that are fantastic. You know, it really makes all the long hours and the hard work and the agonising decisions worthwhile.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I'm still involved with the preschool that I used to manage. I'm because they're a charity, so I'm their committee chairperson now. And I popped in to see the team at the end of the year just to say, you know, good one, ladies. And they bought me a card and I'd got some chocolate from them. And it was like, oh, you didn't have to do that, ladies. That wasn't really expected at all. So, yeah, but it's nice, isn't it, when you get a little pat on the back every now and then.
Yeah, everyone likes to feel that they're appreciated. And talking
Definitely.
of feeling appreciated, what a tenuous link I've just made. I'd like to say a big thank you to all our Patreons supporting us financially so we can aim to put the show out without those horrible, annoying adverts in the middle. And I just want to say that we have started doing podcast after shows, and I think it's going down pretty well, Jane.
Yeah, just a chance for us to have a good old chit-chat, isn't it?
We can squeeze in bits we didn't fit in the main show, go into more detail about things, and also you also get the podcast earlier. So on podcast release day, you get the after show because you've already had the main show. So it's going quite well, is that? And I think it's something after our holidays we'll continue with. And it means being a Patreon, you're getting double the Disney Dream Girls, which, come on, fantastic.
Who doesn't want that, Michelle? Us twice over, crikey.
Well, our travel agents would probably like that completely because it means we'll be taking quadruple the trips.
Very true, very true.
So thank you to our Patreons. We really do appreciate it. We are doing a few giveaways at the moment. At the moment, they are having the chance to win an exclusive Disney print that I am offering. And this is a biggie, my lovely patrons, you are going to be offered in the upcoming weeks the opportunity to win a Club 33 Disneyland pin.
Ooh.
It's for our lovely Patreons to say thank you. And I'm going to pick up some bits and pieces from the travel that I do over the summer, and I'm sure I can persuade you to find something on the cruise line.
Oh, definitely.
That we're going to do little giveaways to say thank you for supporting us. It does mean a great deal. Anyway, enough chat about all of that because we are a Disney podcast and we have got a bumper-packed filled show. But as usual, Jane, it's over to you. You can talk history while I get a little slurp of coffee from my International Flower and Garden Festival Orange Bird mug.
Oh, that's okay. I've got my Mr. Toad's Wild Ride mug going on here, so we're suitably Disney coffeeed up, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Right, okay, some quickie ones then today, and we're going to go all the way back to 1932. This was actually the premiere of Disney's first full-colour animated film, and that was at the it was called Flowers and Trees, and it premiered at Grauman's Chinese Theatre in Hollywood. Obviously, it was the 29th Silly Symphony, and it was considered to be a landmark in Disney animation and earned Disney the first Academy Award ever given for the best cartoon short subject. And at the same time, they had their last black and white Silly Symphony was released, and that was the cartoon called Just Short Dogs. So there you go. Then we're going to have some firsts. I found some things. I thought, these are all opening things, which I quite like the vibe of. 1993, we're going to be in Disneyland Paris. And this was, excuse my French, the debut of Indiana Jones et le Temple du Peril. So that's the Temple of Peril because it's easy to translate. Based on Indiana Jones, obviously, sponsored by Esso at the time. And this is one of those ones that I think it kind of gets a little bit forgotten about because it's kind of hidden in Adventureland. So have a little wander and you'll find it. If you like a little quick thrill ride, Indiana Jones over in Disneyland Paris. 1998, the first Disney cruise ship, the Disney Magic, was launched, and it was one of the three largest ships in the world at the time. You didn't know that. Another first, over in Hollywood Studios in 1999, Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith, officially opened. So lots of openings, lots of things happening. Wouldn't that, because it's the summer period, it's like that kind of ideal moment, isn't it, for things to come to fruition. And also, and this is kind of a bittersweet one, at Disney World in 1999, FastPass began operating in the Magic Kingdom at Space Mountain and Splash Mountain. Do you remember FastPasses, Michelle?
I've got a stack of them, and I keep meaning to speak to your beautiful daughter to sort of resin set them into a set of coasters. So I know she's done something similar for some other friends of ours in the Disney Dream Girls family. So yeah, I need to get them out. That's a good reminder, Jane. Thank you.
No problem. But I thought, oh yeah, it's kind of like, yay, oh, at the same time with that, isn't it?
It is.
I see, actually, I heard today that Tokyo are bringing back the free fast passes just for a very short period of time for their, is it the 40th anniversary? Who knows? Maybe they'll return, she says, with fingers and toes crossed.
Well, you never know, darling. You never know. OK, well, I'm hopping to Disneyland. I'm going to start with a little bit of news. And I think, Jane, this was news to you. But my radar is on with my upcoming Disneyland trip. And, oh my word, this did not hit with quite a few people really well when the news was released. That Carnation Cafe, which is on Main Street, the Riverbell Terrace in Frontierland, and Cafe Orleans in New Orleans Square will all begin serving wine, beer and specialty cocktails.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously Disneyland was always supposed to be a dry park.
Well, 12th of September onwards, 3 restaurants will now be serving alcohol.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that.
Well, we both know, and everyone who listens to us know that when we're in the parks, our focus is on the parks rather than drinking alcoholic beverages. They're more for like unwinding and whatever, each to their own. But yeah, I totally get it. I saw some comments from people who seem to be the majority are against it. A few people are sort of saying, well, it's nice to be able to have a meal and unwind with a glass of wine or a beer or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Guys, if you got an opinion, let us know. They're also going to be tweaking menu, and there's going to be a few new bits and pieces that are available. So, for example, Carnation Cafe are going to be having a veggie skillet, which I suppose, attracting those people with a plant-based diet, it's really appropriate. You know, my son, bless his heart, Kieran, started off with veganery, and he's kept vegan.
Oh, wow. And
he's sending me lovely pictures of vegan cookies and tofu katsu curry and all sorts of things. He's really embracing it, so good on him. There's going to be Bloody Mary alcoholic and non-alcoholic versions, and I see there's a peach pie margarita available.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
You see, I've got you now, Jane. I've got you.
That's margarita. Yeah.
I knew I could sway her opinion really, really easy.
Doesn't take much, does it really? I start off all virtuous and go downhill very quick.
The only place in history that you could get an alcoholic beverage in Disneyland was Club 33, which had opened up in 1967. So you think 12 years of it being a dry park. And then the first publicly accessible alcoholic servery was Ogre's Canteen when Galaxy's Edge opened up in 2019.
Oh, yeah. It's a weird one, that, isn't it? I kind of forget that's there. In some respect, you know, I think my mind thinks of Disneyland and I forget there's that bit that been that extension. I kind of think of the classic and don't think beyond, but yeah.
And then obviously it was followed in 2021 when Blue Bayou opened up again after its refurbishment, and that had added wine, beer and alcohol. So it's not like you can walk up and get a glass of wine on Main Street from a cart like you can do in Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? I think perhaps potentially looking at it from a wider point of view, if it's being offered, in restaurants, it's not quite the same as a grab and go option.
True, we shall see what happens in September when that's available. I have a reservation for Carnation Cafe, so
nice.
I was a bit panicky about losing the favourite thing on the menu, but the menu doesn't change till September, so I'm feeling happy.
Cool.
Also seen that Fantasmic in Disneyland is going to stay closed all the way through spring till 2024.
Yeah, it's a long closure now, isn't it?
And they've said Mickey will not be fighting the Magnificent Dragon when he returns.
Ah, so there's obviously issues there then, isn't there?
I'm a little bit upset because I am obviously going to be spending a day in Disneyland and not being able to see Fantasmic in its better version. But hey-ho, another trip. Now, I do recall in my Easter trip I brought you back a Mr. Toad wonderful popcorn bucket.
You did indeed. Very kind of you, my darling.
Well, Disneyland have got a train popcorn bucket available with the cutest little ribbon saying Disneyland Railroad, and then you have the fantastic iconic image of Mickey in his engineering outfit waving out of the cab with the train looking resplendent.
Yeah, and it lights up, doesn't it, as well?
It's got a little light and replaceable batteries. It's got a
Thank you.
removable smokestack which can turn into a whistle.
Oh, I didn't know that bit. That's cute.
Yeah. The only thing is for me, and this has just been an international traveller, how the flipping heck am I going to fit it in my case?
Yeah. This is where you could do with the shipping option, isn't it? It's not going to cost an arm and a leg.
Well, there is shipping options. I could go to UPS while I'm in the USA and ship a box back, but if it's got a value of over $20, when it gets into the UK, I have to pay import taxes, and it'll end up costing, over $100 for a bit of a plastic popcorn bucket.
I'm going to say that's the downside for us, isn't it?
It is, but it does look super cute. I could imagine Joseph enjoying playing with it. But I think for me, I will save my $32.25 on something else that actually would fit in my case. But I thought I'd mention it in case anyone else is a popcorn collector and you fancy this train for your collection.
Definitely.
Okay, we have also got the Food and Wine Festival merchandise out. Ooh.
Right, I haven't seen any of this yet.
You haven't?
No.
Well, this is standard fare that you're going to get at every single Food and Wine Festival. So you've got your oven gloves, you've got those really nice shaped glasses, and you have the sort of majority type of food and wine things that they have. And then they have a focus. So, for example, if you go back to Flower and Garden, they had a subset of Snow White equipment, and then they had a lot of things on Figment and Orange Bird. Well, this festival that comes up, they're going to be focusing quite heavily on Enchanto.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of merchandise with regards to that I'm seeing already available, which I'm not a fan of the film.
No.
But I imagine if you are, there's a lot of merchandise there for you. The only thing that I need, and I must say that really loudly, I need is the salt and pepper shakers.
Of course.
Because I have the collection.
Ah, so it would be rude not to add them in, wouldn't it, really?
It would be an offence. Absolutely. I'll have to speak to a fellow friend of mine who might be going to the parks in that time to beg and plead for one or two. And then the last thing I found in the news this week, which was kind of interesting, is that there's going to be a World Princess Week in the Disney parks for this coming August.
Oh, okay. Do they do this normally? I don't know.
Well, the cynical me thinks, it's the last week in August, crowds are going to be low, let's put out a lot of food that looks like good Instagram fodder for people to come in and buy these pieces of yumminess. Now, a lot of it is available now.
Oh,
Some of
okay.
it is only available in Princess Week from the 20th to the 26th of August, and it's running across parks. So there's a few things I kind of saw and I thought, ooh, if I was in the parks, I'd be kind of interested in trying out
Okay.
one or two of these.
Right.
So, as you always, you start with Walt Disney World, and there is a plethora of sweetness, of cuteness, of amazing looking things in so many different places. You know, the focus is on so many different princesses. There's a lot of things about Little Mermaid, which is a tie into the film, which I haven't yet seen, and I don't intend to see until I'm on an aeroplane because, yeah,
Yeah.
budgets. We've got Cinderella being featured, Ariel. It seems each hotel has got something. And for me, the one that stood out and thought, I've got to go and make a trip to this place if I could, would be the Snow White cupcake, which looks super cute. But at the end of the day, it's just a vanilla cupcake with Snow White colours on top. It's nothing special.
It's the only problem with cupcakes, isn't it? We've said this before. There's sometimes there can be a lot of substance on top, but not very much substance underneath.
In the Riviera Resort, there is something that's kind of catched me a little bit, and this is only available at Topolino's Terrace Flavours of the Riviera during dinner time, and you can buy the Make It Pink, Make It Blue, and it's an orange blossom honey mousse that is transformed by colour changing flavours of citrus, accompanied with strawberry curd and almond crumble.
Ooh.
It's very reminiscent of the pods desserts that you get over at Satuli Canteen in Animal Kingdom. And it's on like a crumb base, so it looks sort of like sea-like, and it looks like this beautiful mousse encapsulated in this bluey haze. But I gather when you pay for it, or somewhere along the process, there's a little spray that gets spritzed onto it, and it goes from blue to pink or pink to blue.
Ooh, colour changing.
Now, whether that enhances the taste, I very much doubt, but it will definitely enhance your following on Instagram.
Very true.
Amorettes are getting in on the act with a very cool
Of course.
flavoured cake as well, which is a theme around Rapunzel, which is very yummy. I must admit, the Rapunzel things seem to me the most prettiest because they've got all those lovely little flowers and they seem to be on everything.
Right, yeah, it lends itself very nicely to cake decoration, doesn't it?
Maybe it's because I love Rapunzel's flowers, having got Rapunzel's flowers tattooed on my bod. I don't know.
Possibly.
But yeah, lots of interesting things. Quite funnily, the Regal Eagle Smokehouse have got Tiana banana pudding, which if you remember I tried last August, and it's just basically banana custard with banana and cream on top, and then a little disc for Tiana, and I really didn't rate it at all. So there is a lot for Walt Disney World. Disneyland doesn't seem to have a lot of things. They do have a Princess Bubble Sipper at about 57,000 eateries around the park. But the one thing that I am enticed by is a purple pineapple shell macaron. And you know I'm a bit of a devotee of the macaron, and this one sounds amazing. It has got blue pineapple buttercream and a chocolate pearl in the middle. It looks like a shell. This is going to be something I will possibly try when I am there.
Oh, lovely.
But yeah, very interesting to see the range of things. But of course, the place that wins it for me is going to be over in the Far East parks, because you can get a Beauty and the Beast popcorn bucket, and it is a cuboid shape with the beautiful stained glass window images all the way around. It lights up, it looks fantastic, and that is one that I'd be finding space in the case for.
They do so well, don't they, on their popcorn buckets over there? They have some proper crackers.
They do, and it is just killing me. I need to get there. Right, Jane, I set us a challenge.
You did, yes.
And our challenge basically was, how low can we go? In other words, how little money can we spend? Because we're all very budget conscious at the moment, and Disney is a place that likes to suck up and hoover the pounds out of your purse. So we thought we'd scour the menus in Walt Disney World, and we're going to start with the Magic Kingdom, but in turn we will go through the parks. and think about what are the cheapest but tastiest eats you could get and how little you could manage to spend in a Walt Disney theme park in a day on food without even resorting to the kids' menus.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me this is going to be a really handy guide for how I possibly spend my upcoming dollars on possible upcoming trips.
No, definitely. I think it's. We all know that going to Disney at the moment is not the cheapest option in the world, and especially when you're going to have to factor in the likes of Genie Pluses and what have you if you need to. So looking at your food options and just taking that time out. I mean, it's quite easy. Go onto Walt Disney World's website, or there's other websites out there. You can get all the menus up. You can look in advance and get an idea about not only the costs that are going to be involved, but also where best might be to eat for your group, because it's like eating with families where you can have a picky eater, or you may have somebody that's plant-based, or like for Simon and I, trying to eat as low carb as possible. At least doing that bit of research before you go, you can go in better informed and budget better at the same time.
Absolutely. And this is where in April when I went to Walt Disney World, this paid off for me because I had written a whole sheet of places where I could get food that I would possibly enjoy. So when we were wandering around the park, I could just pick it up onto my phone, have a little look and think, oh yeah, we're just going past this eatery. Oh, and I know they have this, which is something I really like. Oh, am I hungry? Yeah, I think I'll go pop in and get it. And it also adds to that fun part of the research of pre-trip planning.
Well, yeah, and if you are struggling for time when you're visiting any of the Disney parks, if you've gone down and said, you know what, these are the places that we'd like to eat because it's going to suit the party, it's going to suit our budget, you haven't got time wasted. I've done it before where you stand around going, well, who wants to eat what? Where are we going to go? Well, no, you don't want to eat there. And so, and all that sort of kerfuffle and you're wasting time at that point. And if time's precious on your trip, you don't want to be wasting time making decisions about where to eat and when. Plan it out a little bit and all that drama's taken care of.
So shall we kick off with what we found for breakfast?
Okay.
Go on, Jane, I'll let you go first.
I'm going to head to Westwood Ho for their breakfast sandwich.
Ooh, what's in that?
Bacon, egg and cheddar served on a multigrain croissant for $6.99. Now, if you've got a little bit of extra cash to spare, you can get exactly the same over at the Friar's Nook, but it comes with tots, but they're going to charge you $2 just to have the tater tots. So if you're watching your money, it's probably best to go over to Westwood Ho and just have the croissant on its own.
Or if you want to share.
What?
I know, but some of these portions are able to share. And
True.
Another top tip, if you are going to the Friar's Nook, you can get a side of either the cheese sauce for $1 or the sausage gravy, and then that makes it a little bit more substantial as well.
True.
Go on, what else have you got for breakfasty type things?
Well, that's the only thing I've really got for breakfast, because I was struggling, because I think you get to a certain point where you end up just going down the sweet route. I mean, if you wanted to, over the lunching pad, they do a cream cheese warm stuffed pretzel. And that's stuffed with sweet cream cheese. And I thought pretzels they're good sizes, aren't they, the pretzels that Disney
True.
do? And with it being I always find pretzels are quite a stodgy dough.
Yeah.
So quite a filling sort of potential start to the day. But that does come in at $7.49.
But it's great food on the go, as you can
It is.
eat it while you're waiting in a line somewhere.
Exactly.
Whereas it's portable, it's finger food. Whereas if you're having something with, say, for example, the tater tots, that's sort of more, you need to sit down because you've got to coordinate your fork and the
You've got to
tots
stop and,
or your
stop
fingers
and eat,
or
haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a few options, Jane. I feel for me, my breakfast options is where my game is really strong. Because when I leave my hotel, I always have a room-made coffee. Mm-hmm. I always have cut some kind of breakfast bar just to put me on. It's like a pre-breakfast breakfast.
An appetizer.
An appetite, a amuse-bouche to tickle my taste buds. I then kind of want to have a little snack in the park about 10 o'clock. And breakfast options can be quite cheap. So I've got into the park fairly early, I've got down a few rides, and I think I deserve a treat.
Yeah.
So Jane mentioned Friar's Nook. Well, they do a portion of their tater tots with sausage gravy at $5.79. So I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
There's also Sleepy Hollow. I can't believe you didn't include the fruit Nutella waffle.
I did. I looked, and I thought, I know you're going to include it, so I was trying to not go for the obvious.
But it is $8.49, and I do think that is a shareable one because it is quite a big portion. However, I do feel over the past few years the amount of fruit and amount of Nutella has shrunk rapidly.
Oh, okay. Not as generous as they once used to be.
No. Another favourite of mine, which is quite cost effective, is the Cheshire Cat Tail.
Yeah.
And that's $5.79.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to Main Street Bakery and get the hazelnut chocolate bear claw at $6.29.
Mm-hmm.
But my cheapest breakfast option was available at Main Street Bakery and is a ham and Swiss cheese croissant at $4.99.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about how you can find things. I've got the best tip for anyone, and you don't even need to have a subscription to do this.
Right.
Although you can subscribe as well. Touring plans do a food search, so you can type in croissant and then you can use some filters to decide which park or whatever, and it will bring up a list of where you can get those things and the prices. And I tended to think, well, I do like a good croissant, and I think ham and cheese in a croissant, it's portable food. I don't need to sit down, I can eat it on the go or in a queue, whereas if it was something like with scrambled egg in the middle, it tends to be a bit messier.
Yeah, yeah.
And we all know I'm a messy eater. Okay, let's move to lunch, Jane. Where did you go for that?
I think that lunchtime, there's a couple of options that I've kind of picked up. And one is over at Casey's Corner.
Ooh.
This is the Chipotle barbecue loaded fries.
High five.
So it's a side, effectively, but they're topped with pulled pork. So you're getting some protein. You've got pulled pork slaw and then the barbecue sauce on top of the fries. I thought, well, actually, that's kind of like a meal, isn't it? But you're only paying the price for the side.
I chose that one as well, Jane, so absolutely agree with that one. That's a great little snackette.
$7.49. And then similarly over at Columbia Harbour House, the New England clam chowder is designated as a side.
Yeah.
And that's $6.79.
I had that one as well. Well done, Janie.
But I think this is the thing, isn't it? It's not just looking at, the quote unquote, the meal options. It's kind of thinking about what some of those sides are going to be. And like you said before, that element of size portions and recognising, well, if you've had something maybe substantial-ish at breakfast, perhaps you don't need something as major at lunchtime, as the day goes on. So, yeah, they were my two sort of look-ats.
Okay. I tended to merge my lunch and dinner options because I thought people could play them up, because what you have at lunch you could also have at dinner, and Disney World tends to have this menu there. It's breakfast specific or lunch and dinner specific.
It is,
so I have quite a list.
Oh, crikey.
Friar's Nook, it has the cheese sauce and tots for $5.29.
Mm-hmm.
You've already mentioned Casey's Corner. Well, they also have Casey's Chili at $4.59. Which I thought is a really good one. I've had this before, and it comes with crackers, which I think us in the UK don't get the idea of crackers
no.
at all. But I have seen fellow Americans having this, and they sort of crumble the crackers on top of the chili to give it a bit of crunch. But my best idea is to get the little crackers and use it as a spoon.
That's what I'll be doing, yeah.
Yeah. They also have chili cheese fries at $6.49. So some really good value eating there. Another one I've got is the Golden Oak Outpost, and oh my word, I had this in the summer. It was fantastic. Chicken strips, which I believe were 4 pieces, with fries and cheese sauce. They are loaded to heaven and back. This is the most expensive thing I got, but it is incredibly shareable because it was huge. Everyone we went with in our little group got their own portion, and it was like, nah, we should have shared.
Oh, wow.
$11.29, but it was well worth the price.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more item, and this is from Pinocchio's Village House.
Oh, okay.
And this was the cheapest thing I could find anywhere. and it's the tomato basil soup at $3.99.
Wow.
That to me is a really bargainicious price.
Definitely.
Now, if you really wanted to be clever, you could serve this up with a portion of the garlic breadsticks at $4.99 and share this between two of you. Now, the soup portion isn't massive, but if you just want a lighter thing, that to me is where the money is. It's tasty. Okay, you've got to sit down. You can't exactly walk around a theme park eating tomato soup because you are going to have a menu on your T-shirt by the time you've walked around for a bit. Did you get anywhere else to eat, Jane?
Well, I was kind of like, the only place else that I came up with, and this is kind of more for like maybe, quote unquote, your main meal, the dinner of the day, was over at Pecos Bill's, the 3-flour tortillas taco trio. Because I thought that came in at $10.99. So if you were thinking of like having that dinner meal, I thought $10.99 wasn't a bad price point. You're getting the 3 tortillas with ground beef, chicken or pork carnitas with lettuce and tomato. So it would kind of feel like you're having, again, sit down and having something substantial that wasn't too bad a price point for that kind of meal.
Yeah, that all sounds good. I've been able to put together a menu of 3 feeds of 3 meals that you can have in the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
For less than $15.
Wow.
I know. I love my research. I really do. I would start the day with the ham Swiss cheese croissant, which I mentioned before. Then I would go and have a loading of the Friar's Nook cheese tater tots at $5.29. I would then finish off with Casey's chili, and that comes to $14.87.
Wow. It just goes to show, though, doesn't it, that we all have a little bit of a gripe about how expensive things have gotten, and when we see prices go up and everything, it kind of galls us a little bit. Like I say, with a little bit of research, you can sort of plan ahead, and at least that would maybe away some fears that people have of it. I'm going to come back from Disney, I'm going to have this massive credit card bill to pay off or whatever. If you've got that sort of gauge of where you could, if you wanted to, level it all out.
I have also got a more upscale menu of where you don't spend more than $20. And this is where you would swap out probably the chili for the tomato soup. And then you could add in a strawberry Dole Whip, and you'd spend under $20 for that. So that's 3 main snacky mealy type things and an ice cream under $20 in a Disney theme park. And again, you might just want to have a couple of these things and spend $10 and bring things in from your home. Even us that come from the UK, you can stop at a Target and stock up on some cheap snacks that you can take into the theme park. You just have to be conscious of how it's packaged, because obviously you can't take in things that are in a glass packaging and things like that. But you can save the money and still have the same experience.
Well, yeah, and I think if you can go in with a lower expectation of what you're going to be spending, then if you do fancy a treat, you've maybe got a little bit of leeway to have that treat. I think sometimes, walking around any theme park, you get bombarded with smells and menus and seeing other people eating things, and you can all of a sudden find yourself spending much more money than you'd perhaps envisioned, because you've got sidewinked by, tasty looking treats and smells.
Absolutely. Have you any top tips, guys? Would you like to share them with us? What do you normally set as a daily food budget? I have met people before who have only chosen to have a snack a day in the parks, and everything else they take in or go back to their hotel room and have in their room. Some of the hotel rooms have microwaves, toasters, fridges, particularly if you're DVC, and that does help to bring the cost down. So I'd love to hear your top tips, and we will share them with listeners in upcoming shows, and we will take this theming to a different theme park in upcoming shows. But I think for today, we just need to remind you, you can find us anywhere and everywhere on the old socials at Diz Dream Girls, our Facebook page, Disney Dream Girls Podcast Family, our Patreon page, patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. And we will be back recording our after show on Patreon in a few seconds. But until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.